What's up, fight fans, and welcome back to another Contender Series breakdown here on the Vegas Odds YouTube channel. I'm your host, the fight analyst Garrett Kerman. With me, as always, is my man Joe Danger himself, Jesse Hobson. What's up, man? How's it going?
Oh, just breaking down fights, getting ready to make some money on Tuesday, like every other week. Happy to be back. Happy to be talking with Garrett about these fights. I love these up and comers. Some of these guys we've seen before. Some of them we've seen live, which I'm sure you'll speak to here in a bit. But yeah, I mean it's a good card. I actually prefer this one over some of the recent cards. And I'm happy to break it down for you.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad to have you back. I know you were a little bit under the weather last week, but we're back ready to go, ready to break down some Contender Series again for you guys, putting money into your pockets as always. So let's break it down. Let's get to the first fight on the card in the flyweight division, men's flyweight division, between Roy Echeverria and Rafael Filio. I don't know how to say that last name.
That's
Right now,
looks right.
yeah, Filio minus 175 to come back on Echeverria plus 150. Who do you got?
I will say though, if that was my name, I would go with my nickname is Filio, like Filio Mama or something like that. Like some play on those words, kind of like Eric Anders, your boy, Echer Rivera. Like I have trouble saying his name, so I'm just gonna say Roy. That, like the white man that I am. Roy's level of competition has been fairly terrible. The first opponent with a winning record was 12-8. And he fought the 30-year-old to a split decision. Filio has a submission win over Vinicius Salvador, which I think is pretty impressive. Not only is it a win over, pretty good competition, it's a submission win. And I feel like he should win here as well. I'd assume we see a submission as soon as it hits the mat. Probably round one, maybe round two, if he likes to play with his food a bit. I like to say that. But I don't see it going down any other way. I know that there's people on both sides of this fight. I just feel like Filio gets him down, takes the sub, and that's all she wrote. Round one.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I've watched Echeverria actually live, I think like 2 or 3 times here at Titan FC. But that's pretty much Titan FC is Goat Shed FC because it's just a feeder for Goat Shed fighters to just get the most favorable matchups you could possibly get. Also, they love to get favorable wins on the judges' scorecards as well, which is why he won his split decision in his last fight against a 38-year-old kickboxer. Mind you, he got dropped in that fight, started to fade as the fight was going on. He picked up some steam. He looked good in parts, but he got taken down against a kickboxer with relative ease. Yes, he got right back up, but the kickboxer was just trying to, mix it up. It's not like he was trying to really do anything when the fight actually hit the mat. But yeah, that was a fight that he arguably lost. And, coming off a split decision win against subpar competition is one of my major red flags coming into the Contender Series. One of my major red flags. I mean, look at Marnik Mann, prime example. She went against a subpar competitor, went to a split decision that she arguably lost, came into the Contender Series and got flatlined in round, I think, 2 or round 3. And this, I feel, is another situation. Echeverria faced terrible competition over his time. He's beaten a guy twice. At one time at 2-15, and then he beat him again at 2-17. The rest of his fighters that he's beaten, none of them I don't think even fight anymore. And then he's lost numerous times on as an amateur. He got subbed as an amateur. Yes, he's made strides, but he's faced no one even remotely on the same level as Rafael Filio, who trains with Jose Aldo. He's a third-degree Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's 13-2. He's faced much better competition in his time. I know he's got some faults in his stand-up. It's not the greatest. He does get hit, but it's not like Roy over here is some Mike Tyson of the flyweight division.
That's what people are saying. That's what people are saying.
Which is the most bizarre thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Because, mind you, 7 of his wins, all right, only 4 have come by knockout, okay? He's been to a decision before, and he actually been to a decision twice, and one of them he arguably lost. You look at Filio, who's got the same amount of knockouts as Echeverria at 4, but he's also got 9 submissions, I believe 8 or 9 submissions on his record as well. He is levels above Echeverria once it hits the mat. Echeverria has never faced a high-level grappler ever in his entire mixed martial arts career, amateur and professional. I think there's going to be levels to this. It's going to show. It's a massive step up in competition. I feel like once it hits the mat, it's all but over. He's going to get drowned with top control. Filio is very good with flowing on the mat. He can snatch your leg. He can take your back with ease. And I feel like that's going to take a lot of the power away from Echeverria, as well as what people aren't really talking about. They're talking about the cardio of Echeverria, but he slowed down in a straight kickboxing match in his last fight. Now he's going to have to go and defend submissions, defend takedowns, and then go a hard 15 minutes and have to knock out his opponent, because his opponent's going to be winning on the rounds just from straight grappling and control time. So I got Filio here. Let the line keep coming down, just like people were betting on Marnik Man last week for no apparent reason. Let it keep coming down. Get a great spot at a better price, maybe at minus 150, maybe it might settle at minus 145. But Filio is coming in there. He's getting the win. He's getting the submission inside 2 rounds.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, next up, we got a fight in the lightweight division between Naruyo Aliev and Josh Wick. Right now, the line is set minus 610 all the way up to minus 670 for Aliev to come back on Wick, plus 350 all the way up to plus 475. Who do you got?
Yeah, Aliev has definitely faced some decent competition, decent enough anyway. But the 27-year-old Wick, from the tape that I did see, he's pretty relentless, and he is hungry. I think Wick does have a shot here. But the one thing that does worry me is the fact that he is taking this fight on short notice. Garrett pointed out to me that he does look a little like flabby on the scales based on, what he weighs, supposed to weigh 155. He doesn't look like he's in shape. So it doesn't seem like he was prepared for this fight. I'm picking Aliev to win, but I do like the stab on Wick just because those odds are crazy. Plus 475. The kid does have decent wins, and you really never know with Tuesday Night Contender Series. So I'm gonna pick Aliev to win, but I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit on Wick, just because it's Josh Wick, John Wick. It just sounds cool, and hope for the best.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think Aliev is a minus 650 favorite. I think that's a little crazy. I do think he has a glaring advantage in this fight. Obviously, it's going to be his wrestling, his ground control, his ground and pound. I don't expect him to get the finish. I think it's just going to be rinse and repeat, take him down, heavy top pressure. And we know that Wick does have some tendencies with his takedown defense. It's not great, but I feel like Wick is probably the better all-around fighter, especially in the stand-up and possibly in the submission game. He could catch Aliev in something if he leaves his neck out there. But ultimately, I think Aliev just wrestles him for 15 minutes and gets a boring decision win. I don't think he should be a massive favorite. I don't think he's a high prospect, as some people are saying. He's got some good wrestling, but I feel like once he takes a massive step up in competition, like his first UFC fight, if he gets there, I feel like he's not going to look too great.
It's pretty crazy. Like their birthdays are almost the same. Like it's like
they are
9 days apart, something like that. That's pretty wild.
I think
just random.
It's 2 days apart.
Yeah.
No, it's 2 weeks and it's less than that. It's a week.
It's 2 weeks and 2 days. So 14, 16 days.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, just random.
That is so wild. All right, next up, we got a fight in the heavyweight division between Austin Lane and Richard Jacoby. Right now, the line is set at minus 165 for Lane, plus 140 for Jacoby. Who do you got?
Yeah, this one, I think this is going to be my moneymaker here. Lane went 4 rounds with Juan Adams. While he did win, that's super suspect. Nobody needs to go 4 rounds with Juan Adams. He also got murdered by Hardy. In hindsight, that loss doesn't look too good. Jacoby doesn't have the best track record as far as competition, but I think he's a very live dog here. And I'm taking him inside the distance at plus 300. For some reason, the inside the distance is like a better bet than the knockout. I think the knockout's plus 250. So go ahead and take the inside the distance at plus 3. Why not? Maybe he'll get a sub. But
Bro,
I would count on the knockout. You never know with these heavyweights, though.
bro, I don't know what to make of this. It's like on paper, Austin Lane should definitely win this fight. I mean, Jacoby's fought nobody. He's not really established. He's only 6-0, but it's a heavyweight fight, and Austin Lane has looked bad at times. I mean, like you said, not being able to get Juan Adams out of there within 10 minutes, which is bad in its own right. Losing to Greg Hardy is bad. Yes, and then he's also lost to Vernon Lewis, which is also another bad loss. Yep. And yes, he's gone 4-0 since, but not against anybody good either. Juan Adams is the only decent competition, and he had to go, over 3 rounds in order to finish him. A guy that's literally huffing and puffing probably 3 minutes into the first round. So that's why I kind of want to stay away from this fight. I do like the under, whatever it is, whether it's 1.5 or 2.5, the under should hit, because these guys are just going to come out and try to just blast each other in the face, and someone's just going to take one of each other's heads off. And I feel like that's definitely going to hit. I would not be surprised if Austin Lane loses this fight at all. I know a lot of people are picking him. And going into this week, I thought I was going to pick him too. But then I'm like, going that, not finishing Juan Adams and facing subpar competition, losing to Vernon Lewis after losing to Greg Hardy. It's just all bad. So ultimately, passing on this fight. If I had to pick, I'd probably take Austin Lane just because, better track record against better competition. But yeah, I do not trust him with my money at all.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think also too, the name Jacoby kind of jumps out at me just because Dustin has made me so much money that I'm hoping for another,
Jacoby money maker.
Yeah, another gold mine here. But I think that this is going to be a pretty shitty fight, and one of them should get knocked out first round.
Yeah, I agree with that notion. All right, let's keep it moving. In our next fight up is in the bantamweight division between Raul Rosas Jr. taking on Mondo Gutierrez. Right now, the line set at minus 145 all the way up to minus 160 for Rosas, and the comeback on Gutierrez plus 112 to plus 135. What do you got?
Yeah, this is another weird one. It's interesting. Like, there's storylines in every one of these fights. I'm not seeing the logic here. Sure, the kid is bigger, but a 17-year-old seems like too much too soon. Mondo is out here. He submits bigger guys every fight. He's a small guy, so everyone he fights is going to be bigger. So I don't see why he shouldn't be able to do that tomorrow too. I'm going to take Gutierrez straight up plus 135, and hopefully he shows up. It's just I can't put my money behind a 17-year-old. It makes me think of betting on the Little League World Series or something. It's just gross.
Yeah,
but I bet against him.
Yeah, it's crazy though, because like you say, 17 years old. He's about to be 18 in next month, actually. But he needed to get a permission slip signed by his parents in order to make this fight, which is just crazy to me. He's 5-0. He's got some legit grappling chops. I give him that. He's very explosive, good double leg takedowns, and he's a menace when he gets you down on the ground. I believe he's finished all 5 of his wins via submission. He's fought absolutely nobody over in Mexico.
Yeah,
literally nobody. He's still super young, still developing, 1 as a fighter, 2 as a man. Yeah, as a man, physicality, he's not even fully grown yet. And I don't know if they're going to sign a 17-year-old. I just don't know. But he's looked good. He's comes from a fighting family. His sister, I believe, has a fight coming up. I think her first fight was against Mackenzie Dern, which was kind of crazy. His dad was a fighter as well. Not a good fighter, but a fighter. More or less. But he's going against his toughest competition yet. Mondo Gutierrez, 7-1 as a professional. I think he was 4-0 or 5-0 as an amateur. He's got some legit grappling chops himself. I believe he wrestled for majority of his time before MMA. I'm not sure if it was D1 or D2, but he definitely wrestled. Majority of his wins are also by submission. Yeah. So I kind of see what the UFC is doing. They're trying to give Rosas a fight where against a fighter that's not going to want to just stand and bang. That's willing to grapple to see how he does if he could get a win. Well, I'm hoping Gutierrez just goes down there, sprawls and brawls, because he's got good takedown. Well, for the most part, he's got good takedown defense. I mean, going against Mo Miller, that's going to do that to pretty much anybody. But ultimately, I think he's got a good enough get-up game to get up. And then on the feet, it's a no contest. Rosas doesn't throw punches. He's not good at striking. He's got barely any striking abilities at all. So maybe I feel like it might be a wash on the mat. And then on the feet, it's a no contest. Mondo absolutely starches him on the feet. It's not even close. So I'm hoping he goes in there with that mentality, sprawl and brawl, and absolutely starches him on the feet. I'm taking Mondo to get the job done as well.
Yeah. I don't see it going any other way. Like I do think that the UFC is giving the 17-year-old like a favorable matchup. Like it's going to end up on the ground. But I mean, if you remember the Chase Hooper fight, dude, he got murdered for like the first like two rounds, or like maybe even some in the third. Like that was difficult to watch. I mean, ultimately he ended up winning, but like I don't know, man.
I don't know. This kid's got a lot better actual offensive wrestling that Chase Hooper will ever have in his entire arsenal. But
well, he looks bigger too. Like this kid actually looks like a little, like his balls dropped. You know, like he's like
yeah, it's true.
He's not Hooper. Hooper still looks 12. Like this guy looks like he's.
Yeah, you know, he definitely doesn't look 17.
Yeah, he's hanging out with the cheerleaders. Like that's this guy. You know, Hooper's like collecting calculators and stuff. So. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
That's true. I'm actually excited for this fight. I've been excited for this fight for a while because I've been watching Mondo fight for years now, and I expected him to be on the Contender Series. I expect him to be in the UFC at some point, even with the loss, if he does get a loss, because he's definitely good enough to be in the UFC, or he wouldn't be at this spot. So
he has a good haircut, so.
Yeah, he definitely does. All right, in our featured bout, we have a fight in the middleweight division between Leon Aloo or Leo, I don't know, and Aloo and Bruno Ferreira. Right now, the line is set at -240 for Ferreira. The comeback on Aloo plus 200. What do you got?
Yeah, so this one was fun watching tape for. Ferreira, he's the real deal, man. Amazing prospect, to have at 185. He's faced decent competition, and he's looked good doing it. Aloo, he isn't a slouch. They didn't like give Bruno like a layup. Like this is going to be a good back and forth, like competitive fight. But I do think Ferreira finds the chin during the first wild exchange, and if he doesn't not get him out, then I think Bruno probably wins. A decisive decision. I do think he does get the knockout, but if for some reason that doesn't come, I think it's going to be fairly, 30-27s across the board.
Yeah, looking over this matchup, I think these guys are two very good fighters. I think they're very well matched as well. Bruno, he's the BJJ black belt. He's the Judoka black belt as well. Leon, on the other hand, he's more of a striker. He's got heavy hands. He's got knockout power. He's going to want to keep this fight on the feet and try to land a devastating knockout. But Bruno, on the other hand, he's got some knockouts in his own right. He's got some insane power as well. Ultimately, I think Bruno's the right side here. He's got more ways to win. I think he's more well-rounded, and I feel like like you say, he's probably going to hit the chin once, and he's going to go out at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Aloo finds, finds his chin in the
wild exchanges,
the first wild exchange, but I don't see that happening. There's just more paths to victory on the other side of that fight.
Agreed. All right, that's what we got for you guys for week 9 of Contender Series. We only got one more week left, one more week of money time.
But then we're going to start breaking down rooster fights.
Yeah, we got some cockfights going on around here. We'll give you some betting lines, and we'll see what happens.
We'll record them in my backyard, and everyone can, I'll give you like the matchups, and you guys can put money. Yeah, hit me up.
The tail of the tape and all that good stuff.
That's it.
All right, guys. Before we go, we need you to go subscribe and like this video over at VegasOdds YouTube channel, and we'll be back next week, same time as always.